Hi, I'm Robin Schultz with the Hoover channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you'll always know when we have a new video coming up.
Good evening. Welcome to the Hoover Municipal Election Candidate Forum. We appreciate you being here tonight. And the election is around the corner on August the 26th. The polls will be opening at 7 a.m., closing at 7 p.m. So hopefully all of you have registered and ready to go. My name is Paul DeMarco. I have the privilege of being the moderator tonight for this forum. And again, most importantly, thank you for the candidates and for all of you for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Let me introduce you to the three host organizations and their representatives. We have Nan Baldwin, the President and CEO of the Hoover Area Chamber of Commerce. We have John Anderson, who is the editor of the Hoover Sun. And then we have Judy Jones, who is the President of the League of Women Voters of Greater Birmingham. I want a few acknowledgments. First of all, thanks to the Hoover City Schools Performing Arts Center. It's a beautiful facility. We appreciate them hosting us. And thank you to the technical director, Brandon Headley, who's made sure all this audio is working and that you can hear us all. So thank you. Thanks to the Hoover School System, again, for hosting us. Josh Patton, Josh, raise your hand. He will be handling the timekeeper. He's with Comparing Insurance Agency and he's a chamber ambassador. And then also thanks to the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority who is serving as our greeters, and Miss Brooke Adams, their chapter president. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me tell you where we are and how we got here. So all the city council and the mayoral candidates were invited to the forum. With the exception of two candidates, one for place 6, Casey Middlebrooks, and place 7, Stephen McClinton, these candidates were unopposed, so they're already been elected and certified and elected. So the city council candidates are here, will be presented first, then we'll allow them to exit the stage, and then we'll do the mayoral candidates. The questions were developed by these three host organizations with some ideas from questions submitted by the public in advance of this evening. So let me tell you the format that was provided to the city council candidates and the mayoral candidates on what the rules and how it will go for the format. The city council candidates will give a 2-minute opening statement. They will be given 3 questions with a 1-minute response, and then they'll be allowed a 1-minute closing statement. The mayoral candidates will be given a 3-minute opening statement. They will have 3 questions with the 2 minutes to respond, and then a 2-minute closing statement. The timekeeper will signal candidates when they have 1 minute of their time remaining, 20 seconds, and then he's going to say stop. And we've asked the candidates to finish their sentence, but not start a second sentence. I want to remind everybody, and we've told the candidates, this is a forum, it's not a debate. We've asked that they refrain from mentioning other candidates by name. So look, it's 12 days to the election, and we want to introduce the city council presidents who we're all glad they're all present. And if they will just stand when I call their name. For place 1, Tanveer Patel. Robin Schultz in place 1. Thank you. Place 2, Clint Bircheat. Kenneth Cox Jr. Copeland Johnson. And Gene Smith. Thank you, gentlemen. Place 3, Liz Lane. Ashley Lovell. And Robert Williams. Place 4, Christian Coleman, Khristi Driver, and Donna Mazer. And then in place 5, we have Steve Lawrence and Derek M. Murphy. Thank you. Okay, so here's where we're going to go. We're going to get started right now. The candidates will deliver their opening statements in alphabetical order. Then we will alter the order for the questions. I think we've got the slides ready to go. All right. So we're going to ask both the Place 1 candidates to come to the microphones. Again, they will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. And Ms. Patel.
Hello, Hoover. I am Tanveer Patel, running for Hoover City Council Place 1. I am running because the decisions that are made for the city affects not only you and me, but our children and our grandchildren. Today, I want to address 3 things. Number 1, how are we going to pay for our schools when the tax revenue is going down? Second, how are we going to upgrade our infrastructure? How are we going to pay for that? And how are we going to service our debt without raising taxes? We need to have business acumen. We need to be bold. We need to be fearless. And we need to be creative. I would propose a $1 million funds from the surplus of the $21 million to fund startups, high-growth tech businesses. And those businesses will create jobs, it will create new economy, and a new service line for our city. With that, it creates and attracts tourism. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a CEO, led global companies, and created jobs and negotiated deals. I have sat on both sides of the table and talked to powerful CEOs and negotiated deals. I've been recognized as the top 100 influential thinkers in the nation. I want to bring that experience to Hoover. I would encourage each and every one of you to go to my Facebook page and learn about me and my ideas. I want to see Galleria buzzing and Patton Chapel with a lot of energy and great businesses which affects our property values. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schultz.
Good evening. I'm Robin Schultz, and I'm running for Hoover City Council Place 1. I've been proud to call Hoover home for over 5 decades. My wife and I raised our 3 children here, all graduates of Hoover City Schools. And today I'm blessed to have 2 grandchildren currently in our schools. This city isn't just where I live, it's my community, and I've spent years working to make it better. In 2006, I launched bluffparkal.org to connect neighbors and share information in our neighborhood. In 2013, when our school bus faced elimination, I worked alongside other stakeholders to ensure it was there for students that needed it. Today, it's one of the top school bus services in the country. I founded Learn to Be the Light to support low-income families when they needed access to technology by refurbishing computers for those that had a need. I umpired park baseball at Shades Mountain Park for 10 years, and I've coached youth flag football at the Hoover Met Complex for the last 7 years, because strong communities start with investing in our kids. And in 2022, when the current administration deleted all the videos of council meetings since 2017 and stopped streaming them in their entirety, I created the Hoover Channel to bring transparency to city government. Live streaming council meetings and making sure residents have access to the decisions that affect them. But despite all that we love about Hoover, it's clear we need change. Our debt has doubled in just 5 years. Transparency is still lacking in key areas, and too often residents feel unheard. I'm not just talking about solutions. I've been delivering them for years. You'll hear one recurring theme here tonight: transparency and accountability. While others talk the talk about transparency, I've walked the walk since 2006. On August 26, I'm asking for your vote for Hoover City Council Place 1 so we can bring accountability, transparency, and real results back to Hoover. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. So if y'all remain, okay, at this point, we will start our questions, and we're going to start off with the Hoover Chamber of Commerce.
This first question is for Ms. Patel. Workforce availability is a growing concern for businesses. What role do you believe the city should play in workforce development, and how would you partner with educational institutions and employers to address this issue?
So for businesses, we have a lot of red tapes. We need to cut those red tapes, and we need to get businesses starting open doors early. We need to have partnerships between the schools and the tech companies that can create and help with the jobs more than $60,000 per year, which brings in, if you have 200 jobs, it brings in about $25 million to the city. And I think we need to have those partnerships and collaborations between the workforce and fund entrepreneurs and boost that local economy.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Schultz.
Mr. Schultz, same question.
What we've done already with Hoover City Schools, if we brought in RC3, founded back in 2015 is when the foundation for RC3 was built. And in it, we brought businesses into it, working in conjunction with the schools. And not all students are going to go to college. Some of them are going to go to trade. Some of them are going to go into the service. So what we need to have is we need to identify the students early enough to know which path they're going and have the businesses come in and work in conjunction with Hoover City Schools in making that work. And RC3 is the perfect place for it.
Okay, thank you. Now at this point, the question will be from the Hoover Sun.
Okay, it's the same question for both of you. In recent years, there have been numerous complaints about trash and recycling services. Reportedly, those complaints have lessened this year. Do you think the issues regarding trash and recycling pickup have been addressed sufficiently, or would you do anything differently? Should the city try to find a different waste pickup provider?
We'll start off with Mr. Schultz.
As always, I get the trash question, John. He asked me a similar question back in 2016. We need to work with the company. In 2021, the Cahaba Solid Waste Authority was founded by the city of Hoover, and it was in response to the service that we'd had for the previous 6 years from Santec. Santec wasn't working the way we wanted it to. So the city thought of coming up with the Cahaba Solid Waste Authority and bringing in other communities and partnering with them to work with one company to pick up the trash. Well, initially, that didn't really work with AmWaste. They were overburdened. You know, we've kind of worked our way through that, but I think we need to revisit the Cahaba Solid Waste Authority vision and perhaps go back to the previous way where we seek bids, which we're not doing right now.
Okay, Ms. Patel.
I would like to do things differently. I would enable technology today to solve these problems. The crowdsourcing of information is very, very powerful. So I would really like to collect that data, have the citizens being involved and invested in the process of problem solving, use the portal to identify the issues, talk to the companies who are servicing our waste, and have them hold them responsible with service level agreements. And I think that's what is holding people accountable, is what is going to get things done. When we measure, things get done.
All right, thank you. The last question will be from the League of Women Voters.
And this is first to Ms. Patel and then to Mr. Schultz. What ideas do you have about involving Hoover residents in decision-making and increasing transparency in government?
I love that question. So again, like I would say that I have developed a transparency portal because I believe you are watching Netflix, you are doing your bank account from your home. Why can you not talk to your government from your living room? Why can you not ask questions to your government when you're sipping your coffee on a Saturday morning? And that can be enabled through technology. And with AI-driven, you will be able to have that. I would love to have collaboration of the citizens. There are a lot of expertise within our community. Why have we created barriers? Why are we not talking to our city citizens and hearing? I want to make sure all voices are heard, and I want to create a tool that will help all of you make it easy to interact with your government. Talk to your government. Open government data through transparency portal.
Mr. Schultz.
Transparency isn't just about the free flow of information. It's about accountability, and it's asking not only the what, but the why as well. That's why we started the Hoover Channel back in 2022. The what and why had been eliminated from city government. And now it has been restored. We got it restored back in August of 2024. But we're still streaming. This meeting tonight is being streamed by the Hoover Channel. It should be noted that, to answer the question directly, we need to make sure that we have access to the elected leaders. They need to be able to be responsive to us, they need to be able to answer the questions, and they need to not just stare at us at meetings. We need to have the ability to respond back to them.
My paper.
Okay, we will now have our closing statements in descending order. I'll remind you it's 1 minute. Mr. Schultz.
Thank you very much for attending, first of all. This is very important for people to see it. Over the years, I've shown what it means to not just talk the talk, but to walk the walk. From starting bluffparkal.org to fighting to keep school transportation in 2013 to creating the Hoover Channel so residents can finally see their government in action. My record is one of action, not empty promises. Hoover's at a crossroads. Our debt has doubled in 5 years. Transparency is too often just a campaign slogan, and residents deserve leaders who will tell them the truth, make the hard decisions. I have the experience, the integrity, and the proven track record to do that. My focus is on solving the real issues that threaten our city's future: financial stability, government transparency, and protecting the quality of life for every resident. I'm Robin Schultz, candidate for Hoover City Council Place 1. And I don't just promise transparency, I deliver it. Thank you.
Ms. Patel.
I am deeply honored to stand here before you. I am here because of Hoover. Hoover has given me a lot. It is time for me to give back to Hoover and the people by serving you on the City Council. The civic services that I have done in my life, for which I have been recognized as the woman who shapes the state of Alabama. Now I want to shape Hoover, and I want to make sure all voices are heard with transparency. I'm a no-excuse person. I want to make Hoover prosperous. I want the Galleria and Patton Chapel to shine. I want those jobs in our city for 3 generations. One for our children, our grandchildren, and for ourselves. I humbly seek your vote. Don't forget to go to my Facebook. And please, I seek your vote for Tanveer Patel, Hoover City Council Place 1. Thank you.
Thank you both. At this point, I'd like to ask the Place 2 candidates to come to the microphone. Okay. We'll have our opening statements from the Place 2 candidates for City Council. Again, we'll start in alphabetical order. I'll remind you each that that opening statement will be 2 minutes. Mr. Bircheat.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming and taking time out of your night. Isn't it good just to be able to live in a country where we can come and do government together? Government starts in our home. Government is ordained from on high. I believe that God established government, and I believe that government is to be put out in our homes first as moms and dads, husbands and wives. That government then leads towards a community. It leads towards organizations in our schools. And the thing is, with government, like any organization, like any relationship, it requires trust and mutual respect. Otherwise, it will fail. And I struggle when I see our government fighting among itself. We see this at all levels of government, but it shouldn't be in Hoover. We all have a common bond. That's why these are nonpartisan elections. We all care about our schools, our communities, where we shop, where we go to church. These are things that we share in common. That's why these are not partisan elections. I don't understand how we can be successful as an organization if we cannot come together over simple matters. The contention has become too much. This was the principle for why I ran, but also I feel that we are spending an enormous amount of money, tens of millions of dollars going to waste, and we're a wealthy city. We can absorb some of this cost. But when you see it over and over and over, at some point, you get on the wrong side of money. We wouldn't spend our money like this in our homes. We wouldn't expect our friends to do this either, or any organization we're part of. I'm perplexed at how we can continue to run like this and remain excellent and successful as a city. So that's why I decided to run. I look at my wife who immigrated here and my 4 children who range from age 1 to 14. We're going to be here for a while, at least I hope to be. I want to make this place excellent. I want it to stay the standard bearer for the Central Alabama and the state. We have had something built here for 50 years that is incredible, that everyone looks to. Let's keep it that way, but it takes work and working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cox.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Cox, and I'm honored to be here as candidate for Hoover City Council, Place 2. Hoover isn't just where I live, it's home. It's where my wife for 22 years, Dr. Alicia Ellis Cox, and I are raising our 3 amazing children. It's where we worship, it's where we serve, and invest in the future together. For over 15 years, I've served our community as an educator, a coach, and a mentor at Birmingham Southern College, most recently as the Associate Athletic Director and Head Cross Country and Track and Field Coach. I was humbled to be inducted into the BSC Sports Hall of Fame in 2024 after helping lead teams to 7 NCAA titles and over 50 All-Americans honors. My passion goes beyond athletics. It's about leadership and service. I've completed the NCAA Dr. Charles Whitcomb Leadership Institute, earned an executive MBA from Faulkner University, and served in several roles, including Chair of Leadership Hoover and Secretary of the Downtown Redevelopment Authority. I also serve on the boards of the Hoover Parks and Rec Foundation, Boys and Girls Club of Central Alabama, and the 100 Black Men of America. As a deacon at the Worship Center Christian Church and a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, I strive to lead with faith, discipline, and purpose. I'm running for City Council because I believe in Hoover, and I believe strong communities are built by listening, serving, and leading with integrity. My vision is to protect our public schools, support our first responders, invest wisely in infrastructure, and continue to champion Hoover athletics, youth development, and the arts, so every young person has the tools and inspiration to thrive. I'm not a politician. I'm your neighbor, a husband, a father, a servant leader. And I humbly ask for your trust and your vote on August 26th. Thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. Johnson.
Hello, all. My name is Copeland Johnson, and I'm campaigning for Hoover City Council Place 2. I'm also Copeland Johnson, a man who learned character, teamwork, and commitment to service to the city of Hoover. I'm not a child, nor am I a stranger after a 15-year residency. I am the one man you can count on to lead in this moment with good credentials towards leading the city of Hoover. Why? Because my credentials and morals come from within Hoover, my hometown. I give thanks to the highly qualified teachers and coaches at Berry Middle and Spain Park High Schools, where I received an excellent education that led to academic scholarships at the University of Alabama. Hoover City Schools sent me to Alabama Boys State, and their motto is "We build citizenship." Hoover City Schools for 4 years sent me to Montgomery, the State House, to participate in competitive writing of legislature in the Senate chamber as well as the House chamber. That is what has me prepared here to serve Hoover. That is why you should elect me for Place 2. I work in Hoover at a high-end sports collectible startup. My CEO is 30 years old, a Spain Park grad, as well as a University of Alabama grad. He hired me as the Director of Communications and Social Media Marketing for a multi-million-dollar company. So we went on a business trip to New York City, where I met the CEO of Fanatics, Fanatics and Topps trading cards, Michael Rubin. So 2 Hoover guys in New York City capable of big city business. Young professionals vote, work, and start families, as well as pay taxes. We're becoming the largest in the housing market. Our children will be the largest in the school system. What we need is energy, fresh perspectives, and highly successful outcomes for Hoover citizens of all ages.
Thank
Vote
you.
Copeland Johnson on August 26th. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
Hello, I'm Gene Smith. I've lived in Hoover over 55 years. I'm married to my wife, Pam, approaching 47 years. We have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. I'm retired from the Hoover Fire Department at the rank of captain and a licensed paramedic. I've operated family businesses over 30 years. I've owned and operated a business here in Hoover since 2009. I previously served here in Place 2 on the Hoover City Council. This last term, I served as council president. Once placed on the council, I won't need on-the-job training. I'll be ready on day one. I'm known as a fiscal conservative while strongly supporting public safety and education. I can bring Hoover more fiscal restraint and accountability. I've made it a priority to listen to citizens' concern, whether at council meetings or privately, always providing answers, returning phone calls, emails, or other communications. It is possible we could have 5 new council faces with no experience. I can help steady the learning curve for any new members. Even if the incumbents return, there will still be 2 new faces if I do return. And I can be an experienced change agent for everybody involved. New members will learn from staff, but they also need to learn from colleagues in the same elected roles. I appreciate your consideration, and I ask for your vote on August 26th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So at this point, we will have our questions from our panelists, and I'll remind you have a 1-minute response to each question. The Hoover Sun will start with the first question. John?
Okay, this is the same question for each of you. In May of last year, we'll start with Mr. Bircheat, but in May of last year, the Hoover City Council was considering an economic incentive package for the second phase of Stadium Trace Village with up to $30 million in sales and property tax breaks. If you were elected to the council and a similar proposal were to come forward, how would you vote? And what factors would you take into account when considering tax breaks for economic development?
Well, it's no secret that going in debt means you have to end up making more money as a city to service that debt. Going from 2% of your budget to 10% means you have to continue to drive economic revenue wherever it is. I think most of us enjoy going to Stadium Trace Phase 1 and have mostly liked what we've seen in Stadium Trace Phase 2. The question becomes about money. Do I support the idea? Yes. I think we all enjoy going to Stadium Trace and the other new shopping areas, but I would also like to see to make sure that we're not jeopardizing existing shopping areas by putting all of our money into new ones. The new ones will make money, but if it continues to depreciate and decline the old ones, that's not a win for the city, that's not a win for all of us, and that will cause problems in the future that I just don't think are going to be great for our city, where we continue to see decline in overall revenue sales, even though one area may succeed. So for that, I support the idea. The question is, are the incentives worth it, and are they a fair number? And for that, if they are, by all means, but let's make sure it's fair for everyone in the community who's in the business community to make sure that we're growing business in all areas. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
Mr. Anderson, would you mind repeating the question?
Sure. In May of last year, the Hoover City Council was considering an economic incentive package for the second phase of Stadium Trace Village with up to $30 million in sales and property tax breaks. If you were elected to the council and a similar proposal were to come forward, how would you vote? And second, what factors would you take into account when considering tax breaks for economic development?
Thank you. So my first approach, actually before I voted yes or no for that, would actually be to consult members in the community and also people throughout our downtown redevelopment authority, in which I serve. Throughout my experience in talking to builders, but also talking to residents, we want to make sure that an investment of that matter is beneficial for everyone. Because yes, it's great to offer tax incentives to those particular individuals, those entities. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we are spending our money wisely. We're also, too, we've got a number of properties that need to be redeveloped. And so I'm all for focusing on the redevelopment instead of new construction first.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
So I'm all about a tax incentive package. I mean, so for right now, I see a lot of commercial blight within our areas. So I'd love to incentivize these people, but we can't forget about the revitalization of the places that we already have. We have a lot of empty storefronts in Patton Creek, as well as a lot of low business activity in the River Chase Galleria, and it's going to be important to not only incentivize the places that are to come, but incentivize the places that we already have. I just think that it's a smart investment to bring, attract businesses that we don't already have, rather than, fund the businesses that are to come and forget about what's available. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
The developer has been a good neighbor with Phase 1. I'm not privy to all the information for Phase 2. I do know that he has asked to reach back to Phase 1 for additional relief in that section. I don't know that that's a responsible action the city should take. I would like to see the properties that he's bringing, the entities he would be bringing. I think he's been pretty forefront with the entities he would be bringing into the city. They would be new to the city, new to the region, new to the Birmingham market. And I believe with that information, it would make it easier to understand what is appropriate. To offer people blanket tax rebates or reductions is not always appropriate, but in certain times it is appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, the next question will be from the League of Women Voters, and Mr. Cox will start first.
Growth and related traffic problems are always on the list of resident concerns. What ideas do you have to mitigate Hoover's traffic problems?
Thank you. Well, again, I'm a team player. I'm certainly someone who values the input of local neighbors, of which I've been talking to, as well as traffic studies, people who have the opportunity of doing these surveys and reaching out to the community to see exactly what the impact is going to be in terms of whether or not we annex a certain community, whether or not we start building, and so my approach is always first and foremost to get the community involved. I think it's great that we're as a community are building and growing fast, but at the same time we also have bigger issues, and that is the construction, moving people into the community without having a plan for the number of homes and traffic that we have.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Personally, I live on the side of Hoover that is along the 280 corridor. So I understand all about traffic problems. We have to get down 280 and come back. So, I mean, if there's any question about what should be done to traffic, it's going to be more about focusing on what the population of a said area is and applying that to the infrastructure that we build. I think it's going to be very important to continue meeting with constituents and make sure that the areas are able to accommodate. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
I'm not privy to all the information that's in the pipeline right now. I think we would need to talk to AlDOT, find out what's already in the works, what's already being funded by the state or the federal government. I know that the 459 interchange is due to be breaking ground as soon as they finished obtaining property. South Shades Crest is going through a widening project. You've got Valleydale Road widening project has been working on for probably 25 years, but it's working with Shelby County. It's about ready to happen. But we need to work with our partners to begin with, find out what's in the pipeline, and then determine what is realistic rather than just stand up here and make pipe dreams. Thank you.
Mr. Bircheat?
So let's start by saying traffic's not a 60-second answer, but I'll give it a good shot. So I live down South Shades Crest Road, and I know the traffic on Brock's Gap, 150, the Met Parkway, in and out of the schools, in and out of events, when we have them here. have all been problematic. Now, let's be clear, this isn't Washington, D.C., Atlanta, New York, but it really shouldn't be a hustle and bustle neighborhood. We're a quiet, calm neighborhood. If we continue to build more businesses and host more entertainment and events in isolated areas and build more homes, this is going to continue to be a problem. So it comes down to making sure that we have a plan, a master plan, set by qualified engineers, working with our county partners, with ALDOT, like Gene said, making sure that we're getting funding from the county partners, from the federal government through those programs that they're pushing through ALDOT, making sure that we have good relationships with the county and that we're working that when they're building something in another part of town, that we're also building at the same time to not over-exacerbate our infrastructure and our roads. So it's about paced growth and smart growth, of course, but working with our partners.
Thank you. All right, the last question will be from the Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Johnson, you'll be the first to answer. Nan?
Okay, thank you. Small businesses are a critical part of Hoover's economy. What specific policies or programs would you support to foster the growth and resilience of small businesses in our community?
So again, this is a question that affects me personally because I do work in Hoover at a small business right off the back of Lorna Ridge Drive. I believe that that small businesses are the cornerstone of Hoover. I mean, everybody has them, the ones that we bring here, people enjoy them. And so it's going to be, again, about what incentive packages we can bring to the community as far as keeping them lively and to make sure that maybe our high prices don't drive them away, because we're losing a lot of businesses to other neighboring cities such as Homewood or maybe inner city Birmingham, urban areas that people like to go to. But realistically, Hoover has the same amenities and resources to attract these businesses and keep them here. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
First, I'd like to say that the city needs to continue its relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. It's a great partnership where many benefits occur, especially with small business owners. Next, Hoover's median income is over $80,000 a year. It needs to maintain a strong economy where these median incomes remain as high as they are, and these small vendors, these small shops can continue to thrive and work to thrive, and they'll continue to open in Hoover, and they will work to be prosperous in Hoover. And as their stories are told, so will others. And I believe that will expand Hoover's economy greatly. Thank you.
Mr. Bircheat?
So small business has a number of definitions depending on who you ask, but I think let's talk about our local businesses. I think of Tracy Fox, who runs our Hoover Small Business Alliance, Nan and team who run our chamber, which is for many of our larger businesses are part of that as well, our regional businesses. I think a lot of what draws business in, not just incentives that we can offer, but creating a kind of a community where you want to have people that live and work in that same community, where you have schools that are going to be able to provide labor in the future for whatever the job may be with these companies, to also provide opportunities, for affordable places for people to open business. Those are all essential elements that we need to balance in our economy here locally, supporting what's already here, but also providing opportunity and encouraging the next generation of folks, who are in maybe their teens or 20s or 30s, who have that aspiration and are young enough to take the risk. So I want to make sure that we're able to foster that as a community, because a few of those might take off. And if they do, it'd be very exciting for Hoover. I think we continue to see businesses thrive, that those who are taking the risk. So I'm for small business folks.
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
Yes. So small businesses really excite me. It's definitely something that I enjoy the most in terms of walking around the community and knocking on doors and meeting someone that talks about how they had a dream to come here and start a family business. Also, those who are taking their first stab at being an entrepreneur. Those are the things that we want to continue to attract in a city like Hoover, because those families, those businesses will also continue to grow. But in addition to that, they'll also find that Hoover is where not only they want to start a business, but maybe even start a family. And that's what we want to do to continue to drive our economy and also create opportunities, not just for those families, but also being examples of what it means to come to Hoover, to grow and live, and also follow your dreams.
Thank you. All right, at this point, gentlemen, we'll do the closing statements. We'll go in descending order. I'll remind you, you've got 1 minute for your closing statement, and we'll start with Mr. Smith.
First, I greatly appreciate the endorsement of the Hoover Firefighters Association, which I received just days ago. Next, I believe in keeping level playing fields. Everyone should be represented in our city government. That's why we're all elected at large. Hoover needs one council member who remembers how the city got to where we are. What promises have been made to residents over the decades? No one else in Place 2 can fill those obligations other than myself, remembering what has been fulfilled and what hasn't. I'm the only one running in Place 2 that can bring the most benefit to the city, its citizens, whoever the mayor is going to be, and those colleagues that would be serving with me. Experience matters now more than ever. I ask for your vote on August 26th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Residents deserve new ideas and a chance to share insight with a public servant who prioritizes citizen concerns enough to learn about their issues and meeting communities outside of City Hall. An example is stormwater management. If not addressed at the campaign level, it was not addressed at the campaign level until I met with residents and held a stormwater town hall, bringing everyone together and raising awareness that has led to nearly every candidate caring about stormwater in their platform. Now imagine what I could accomplish if elected. I will bring action and advocacy to Place 2 regardless of whether it's stormwater management, commercial blight, funding for education and the arts, or increased pedestrian and pet safety. Remember to stretch your vote and elect Copeland Johnson for Place 2. Thank you.
Mr. Cox.
After months on the campaign trail and thousands of doors knocked, I've developed an even deeper relationship with our city. What started out as a desire to serve has grown into something far more meaningful, tangible, and life-changing connections formed by simply listening in our neighborhoods and communities. This work has shown not only the dedication and work ethic required to lead effectively, but also the empathy and understanding needed to truly represent our citizens. The stories, concerns, and ideas shared at doorsteps across Hoover are not just conversations. They are the foundation for thoughtful, responsible policies that reflect the needs and hopes of our community. God is so intentional. 17 years ago, we moved to Hoover, and our oldest daughter, Bailey, was a little over 1. Tomorrow, we move her in to LSU as a freshman in college. Our son is a freshman here at Hoover, and we are here for the same night for Meet the Teacher. But also, throughout Hoover lies a legacy.
Thank
Give
you.
me 1 second, I'm sorry. Please.
Bircheat.
Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's all good.
Sorry.
So, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Our city and our nation are in a good time at the moment. Things are strained, but they're good. Hard times are coming, meaning hard decisions and collaboration have to come together. If you look at our city right now, we're divided. We shouldn't be. Our community is divided over this candidate or that candidate, this issue or that issue. Those issues will be petty in what is to come if things get worse. Recessions come, corrections come, hard times come, and we are a city built on retail and racking up debt. Those are not things that we need to be fighting over going into hard times. I'm asking you to vote for excellent people in all of these places. I hope that I will be that person for your vote on August 26th. I'm not here to fight for politics. I'm here to fight for our city, for my family, for my neighbors, for my friends, for my church, and for our great schools. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that is our Place 2 candidates. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, this time I would ask the Place 3 candidates to come to the microphones. Okay, with the Place 3 candidates, I'll remind you, you each have 2 minutes for your opening statements. We'll go in alphabetical order. So, Ms. Lang.
All right. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Hi, I'm Liz Lane, and I'm running for Seat 3. I'm a working mom, an artist, and a small business owner. I started my first business at 27. At 28, we moved to Hoover to raise our family. I knew it was time to step up for what matters most, our families and our future. My North Star is bright. Hoover must be ready for what's ahead. That means clean air, safe water, and infrastructure that can handle the storms we know are coming more often. If our homes are flooding, nothing else matters. We can't afford to wait. We don't want to be the next city caught unprepared. We need smarter, more sustainable planning, retention ponds that work, native green space, and building codes that actually prevent flooding. But we also need to rethink how we grow. Every empty strip mall next to a brand new one is a lost opportunity. It eats up our green space, worsens flood risks, and drains taxpayer dollars through unnecessary incentives. Hoover doesn't need more sprawl. We need revitalization. Hoover, it's time for a glow up. Let's breathe new life into places like Patton Creek and create vibrant hubs filled with local dining, shopping, art, and culture. Smart redevelopment makes our city more beautiful and more functional, and it supports small businesses while growing revenue without raising taxes. We've seen what investing in sports can do. Now imagine that kind of energy behind the arts, the environment, and our local economy. It's a smart, sustainable path forward. I'm Liz Lane, a mom, a business owner, and an artist, and I'd be honored to earn your vote August 26th. Let's make a heart in Hoover. Vote Liz Lane, seat 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lovell.
I'm Ashley Lovell, and I love Hoover. I'm running for place 3. Why? Because Hoover made me. I'm homegrown in Hoover. I went to Rocky Ridge, Berry, Spain Park High School. Hoover City Schools are the launch pad for life. I'm proof of that. I attended Birmingham Southern College, where I majored in biology, minored in business, captain of the women's golf team, and was later inducted into the Birmingham Southern Hall of Fame. I began my career as a sales representative, and 14 years later, I'm now the senior manager of sales and marketing for the organization. Why did I just introduce myself and tell you that I love Hoover? Because I am currently on a mission for change, and if you love Hoover, you'll understand why. In October of '24, my community dealt with a development issue in Tattersall Park. It is through this that I learned the importance of smart development. I also discovered my love for communicating with residents, keeping them informed, and getting them together. I got to work, created a petition, got 2,500 signatures, created a survey, got 600 responses, and took it to the city council president. That's where I learned the importance of transparency and accountability, because I couldn't get a phone call back. This is where I also learned that we desperately need change in our city, leaders who listen. I then made a radical choice, and I announced I was running for Hoover City Council on January 27th, and also announced specifically place 3 because that is the place the city council president currently holds. So again, why did I introduce myself to you today and tell you that I love Hoover? Because I am a mom of 2. Hoover has done amazing things for my life. I know it's going to do amazing things for my children's life, and that's why I'm standing up today, the reason for transparency and accountability, smart development, strong schools, and safety. If you love Hoover too, stand with me on August 26th. Vote Ashley Lovell, place 3.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Paul. Folks, I'm Robert Williams, and I am running for place 3. Prior to getting into this campaign, I never got to talk about myself or had to talk about myself. I talked about my defendant doctors. But if I'm going to ask you for your vote, I'm going to have to tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in Bessemer before there was a Hoover. I graduated from Auburn in pre-med psychology. I got a master's degree in psychology from Auburn. And I was recruited to LaGrange College in Georgia to teach psychology and be their director of testing. I was at LaGrange for 4 years as an assistant professor of psychology. While there, I also, part of that time, I coached the tennis team. I left LaGrange to go to law school at the University of Tuscaloosa. I got my JD degree in 2.5 years and started practicing in Birmingham. So over the next almost 40 years, I defended doctors and hospitals in medical malpractice cases. In 2020, I retired from the active practice. In 2017, I got my real estate license so I could help my wife, Sherry, in her real estate business. Sherry and I have been married for 41 years and moved into Hoover in 2005. We love Hoover. It's where we live, it's where we work, and we want to make it better. I want to see the schools stay strong. I want to see the neighborhoods stay safe. And I want to meet with the residents and find out what problems they're having. What can we do for them? And I am in favor of town hall meetings and to see what we can do. I spent almost 40 years listening to people and trying to solve their problems. That's what I would like to do for the city of Hoover. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this point, place 3 candidates will have the question and answer. I will remind you after the question, you'll have 1 minute to answer the question. So with that, we will have the first question from the League of Women Voters.
And first goes to Ms. Lane. The city of Hoover is rich in community attractions, recreational opportunities, and superior shopping, dining experiences. What should the city do to promote city visitors and tourism more?
The city of Hoover has done a fabulous job investing in the sports, and we are feeling the rewards of that, not just in community, but in tax revenue. If we spent the same amount of investment, or even just a fraction of the investment in the arts, I'm talking about theater, music, visual arts, think about what our city could be. Think about the types of tourism that we could have, and think about the sales and use tax that we could inquire. Think about how much that initial investment would actually help our police department, our fire department, and our schools. I strongly believe that we have a creative, beautiful economy, and if we just let Hoover shine through the arts, we can increase tourism, sales and use tax, and make Hoover as wonderful as it can be. Thank you.
Ms. Lovell?
So retail and taxes are a big deal here in Hoover, and here lately it seems that our economic engine has been driven by new developments as well as multifamily housing, and that's simply not sustainable. Hoover needs smart development and smart redevelopment and emphasis on redevelopment. So I've talked to residents in Bluff Park, Monte d'Oro, Greystone, and Inverness. Older neighborhoods seem to be forgotten these days, and they tend to feel forgotten because I live in one of those neighborhoods too. But from the retail side, this also includes projects like Patton Creek and the Galleria. That's what will drive our economic engine. You can count on me to seek redevelopment in Hoover. Also, we have an economic development team with 2 members, a full-time employee and a secretary. I think it's time to beef up that department so that we can aggressively recruit business. We have 600,000 square feet of empty office space. We can choose to see that as a negative, or we can choose to see that as an opportunity for growth.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Economic development is a tough question, especially in these times. I know that the city does have a department that is specifically designed for economic development. And I know that they are working hard to do that. Do they need more people, more resources? Maybe they do. But we do have some things that are going on here in Hoover that are going right. And we have the SEC baseball tournament. We have the fire and police games that were here. So we have things that are going positive. But I think the city council needs to meet with the economic development people to find out what can we do as a group to make this city better, because we all want to bring in good, strong people, and I think together we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, the Chamber of Commerce will ask the last question. Ms. Lovell, you'll be first.
Okay. A safe and thoughtfully developed community attracts businesses, investment, and new residents. Some development proposals for Hoover include mixed-use zoning, combining residential, commercial, and office spaces. which may be viewed as potentially impacting single-family neighborhoods and increasing traffic. How would you approach future community development in a way that supports business attraction, protects public safety, and enhances Hoover's long-term economic vitality?
That's a great question and something I'm highly passionate about, because we have to make decisions now that are going to impact us right now, but also for future generations. So as far as economic impact goes and housing, the number one thing here in Hoover is the heart of Hoover is family. And we have to build solutions for individuals to live in these houses. The issue is we need to check the market conditions, make data-driven decisions. Is that housing necessary in that area? Will it benefit that area? So instead of rushing through making a decision, develop, let's sit back, let's make an informed decision, and let's do it. Because there's neat opportunities from, from townhomes to single-family homes, and then to 55-plus communities. We need to support the entire community. I think Knox Square is a really good example of what that could look like. Thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Housing is important. People need a place to live. And I think that our comprehensive plan for the city pretty well sets out what we're trying to do. Now, does that plan need to be updated? I don't know the answer to that. But I do know that the Planning and Zoning Committee meets, they review these proposals, and they give recommendations. And it's not until they have recommended that a plan be approved that it goes to the council. But I think that we do need to get with the residents, find out what it is they want, find out what it is they need, and work as hard as we can to make that happen. As far as where those developments occur, I think that we do have to be mindful of the single-family homes and make sure that we're not impacting their traffic, their quality of life, and do what's best for the city. Thank you.
Ms. Lane?
I will be a candidate who makes decisions based on what the community actually needs and wants, and listen to the experts instead of political pressure and personal gain. I believe that multi-use developments are probably the way of the future. Cities like Nashville, Tennessee have successfully implemented multi-use developments. I think that they should be redevelopments of our current areas like Patton Creek. People want experiential developments. They want to go in, eat, play, live, work. Multi-use developments also increase accessibility, and I think it would be a great asset to Hoover to have. But we have to be very careful about how we go about it, listen to the people in the existing communities, make sure that we can handle the traffic coming from it, and make sure that we are good stewards of the land that they're built on. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next final question will be from the Hoover Sun.
Okay, this is the same question for each of you. In recent years, there have been numerous complaints about stormwater flooding and sediment erosion causing damage to private lakes. What would you propose the city do to address these problems?
Mr. Williams?
Well, like many of you in this room, I've seen the video of the stormwater, and we're not going to be able to stop the rain, so we got to figure out a way to make that water go where we want it to go and not ruin people's land. It's going to require experts in the field to analyze what's going on and make recommendations, and then it's going to be up to the city council, because the city council is the one that has to appropriate the funds to do this. And that's something that I'm committed to work towards, because we do need to solve this problem. As far as the statements that have been made about not being able to do anything on private property, my position is that if the city contributed to causing the damage on private property, we have an obligation to see if we can't fix it. Thank you.
Ms. Lane?
First of all, I have to say that new development will make water issues worse unless it's done very carefully. This is a multifactorial problem. In addition to fixing the water issues, we need to improve city planning for long-term sustainability to reduce water runoff, prevent erosion, and stop homes from flooding. We can't just put bandages over it, and we need to look outside the box. We must, as a city, hold developers accountable for researching water runoff impacts and provide solutions. We need innovative research and solutions that go beyond just fixing pipes. We need green infrastructure, including native plant gardens, permeable soils, and detention and retention ponds. We have to update our floodplains, and we need to make sure that we monitor those very closely, because as we've seen across the United States, flooding is getting worse, and we cannot be caught off guard.
Ms. Lovell.
Stormwater is a complicated situation, and it didn't happen overnight. But I want to share the names of a few people who are dealing with stormwater problems this very moment. Green Valley, Lisa Fernberg, Matthew Smith, Daisha Redford, Scout Creek, Dr. Peter DeFranco, KT Thomas, Matthew Winther. Bottom line, we need money, we need resources, and most of all, we need action. So this is where transparency and accountability comes into play. Residents should be kept informed as to what's going on in their neighborhood, infrastructure updates, etc. So if I have the privilege of being elected onto the City Council, I want to begin to listen to the residents, create public meetings where residents have the space to communicate, review the Scholl report that was done in 2021, get a detailed plan of attack, set goals and timelines, and hold developers accountable for smart growth now and in the future.
Thank you. All right, at this point, we'll do the closing statements. I'll remind you, you'll each have 1 minute. We're going to go in descending order. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you to the sponsors for their hosting this and for their very thoughtful and probing questions. The one question you need to ask me is, why you? Why would you vote for me? Well, I bring to the table many, many years of life experience, 3 successful careers, and a promise to you that I will listen to you and I will do my very best to do what's best for the city of Hoover. I think that I can do things and convince people to do things that will benefit all of the residents of Hoover, and I hope you will give me that opportunity. So on the 26th of this month, I ask that you vote for me, Robert Williams, place 3. Thank you very much.
Ms. Lovell.
I'm stepping up because I love Hoover. I care about the residents of Hoover, and I care about the future of Hoover for my family. So why am I the right choice for place 3? I'm homegrown in Hoover. It's made me, and it is who I am. However, now I'm living, working, and raising my family in Hoover, and this offers me a unique perspective. Coupled with the success in my college sports career, my leadership and development in business, and my relentless pursuit to be the best mom that I can be, I believe that I have been distinctively equipped to represent the residents of Hoover. Most importantly, though, I'm ready to serve. I'm a problem solver, not a politician. I will always be on a mission for change because excellence is not a destination, it's a pursuit. Leadership isn't about titles, it's about trust, teamwork, and results. I believe through transparency and accountability, smart development, and strong schools and safety that we can build a better Hoover together. Vote Ashley Lovell, place 3 on August 26th.
Thank you. Ms. Lane.
There's a lot on the line. These are our streets, our homes, our schools, and our families. Local elections matter, and I am so thankful that y'all are here and engaged in this process. I'm running to be your advocate for a Hoover glow-up, rooted in revitalization and beautification. I'll stand up for clean air and water, strong public schools, support the arts, and a thriving local economy. As someone who's worked in small business since I was 14 years old, I know what it means to build something from the ground up. Hoover is already a great community, and it's time to let the greatness shine. I'm 100% grassroots. That means no special interest money, because the only people that I answer to are you. So if you believe Hoover can be a vibrant, beautiful city that truly cares for all of its residents, spread the word, tell your neighbors and your friends, vote Liz Lane, seat 3 on August 26th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, thank you for the place 3 candidates. Appreciate it. At this point, I would ask the Place 4 candidates to come to the microphones. All right, candidates, I'll remind you for your opening statements, we'll go in alphabetical order. You will have 2 minutes for your opening statements, and we'll start with Mr. Coleman.
Oh, excellent. My name is Christian Coleman. I'm running for Place 4. I am a veteran of the Air Force, which I believe is an honorable alternative to military service. I'm a dad, I'm a writer, and to be quite honest, I'm kind of ticked off. And it's good we only have 2 minutes, because if I talked for longer, I'd get to cussing. Because there are developers trying to buy this election, and there are candidates trying to sell it to them. Okay. But I learned in Sunday school an important lesson that a camel cannot pass through the eye of a needle. And when I read the Quran, Surah the Dawn, I learned that God gives people wealth as a challenge. It is not a blessing. He hands people money, and he wants to know, are you going to help the poor? Are you going to help the orphans? Are you going to help immigrants? And if you don't do it, then he casts you out. And so there are people who are spreading money around right now because they want to buy this election, because they want to knock down every tree in Hoover, and they want to develop every part of it. And so that's the first reason I'm angry. And the second reason I'm angry is because people are selling it so cheaply. There are people who are selling this election for $10,000. At least negotiate a better deal. You should not sell your ethics for anything less than it takes to buy a boat, a truck to pull it, and a Yeti 110 iced down full of silver bullets. So I am not for sale. I have taken no money from anybody who wants to buy this election, and I never will.
Thank you. Ms. Driver.
Thank you, Paul. I'm thankful to be here in this long-awaited and amazing Performing Arts Center at Hoover High School. Thanks to our hosts, I most of all want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to be here tonight to listen to a bunch of wannabe city councilors talk to you about politics. Hoover is so fortunate to have a community that cares. I'm Khristi Driver. I'm a country girl originally from Blount County, Alabama. I come from a blue-collar family. My dad's an electrician. My grandfather was an iron worker. I was the first in my family, because of their hard work, to have the opportunity to go to college. I went on to law school after that. I've had a 25-year career of law firm and corporate leadership roles. And I moved to Hoover over 20 years ago after our first child was born. Schools were a huge factor in that decision. So why am I here? I'm currently serving in Place 4 on the Hoover City Council. When Mike Shaw was elected to the state legislature in 2022, the council itself unanimously voted to put me in his spot. Why did they do that? Because I have a record of serving and working hard for Hoover for decades. I served as the Hoover City Schools Foundation on the board and on the board of the Hoover City Schools Foundation and as their president. I served on the Hoover Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I was and still am a board member for Leadership Hoover, and I served as the president of the Downtown Redevelopment Authority. I work collaboratively with others to achieve the best for the people that I serve, and that's how I've operated in my 2.5 years on the council. There's a learning curve to doing this job. It's not easy. I'm hitting my stride, and I'm ready to accomplish even more for you.
Thank you. Ms. Mazer?
I'm Donna Mazer. I'm running for Place 4. Over 20 years ago, I was on the Hoover City Council. And I'm very proud to say that the council that I was on was probably the most transparent and accounted for every penny that we spent of your money. I was fortunate enough to be part of the development of Ross Bridge and the Robert Trent Jones Golf Course, the Preserve. We put in the RV park at the Met, which I believe has brought the SEC here for many, many years. We also did the expansion of the Hoover Library, and we did the Public Safety Center, which now has the Forensic Laboratory of Birmingham, Alabama. I want to bring transparency and accountability back to the city of Hoover, which it is lacking. We have spent $18 million of your money, taxpayers' money, on a building in Riverwalk that no one is in. That's a lot of your money. I don't know if anybody knows that in here. So I want to bring back accountability and transparency. I also want to help. It is the city of Hoover's responsibility to take care of the stormwater issue. That's what I want to accomplish.
At this point, we'll have the questions for each of the Place 4 candidates. I'll remind you have a 1-minute response. We'll start off with Mr. Coleman, and the question will be from the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. All three will have the same question. What strategies would you support to attract new businesses to Hoover while also ensuring that the existing businesses are supported and encouraged to stay here and grow here?
So my first priority would be to redevelop the empty spaces we have now. I would not be prioritizing building new spaces. There are a lot of empty boxes all over Hoover. I live on Lorna Road. There's a few on Lorna Road. There's a few in the River Chase Galleria. There's a whole lot in Patton Creek. The city owns 3021 Lorna Road. And so all of these places are places where we can incentivize businesses to move in, as opposed to incentivizing them to build new spaces, which would subtract energy from the current empty boxes. It would also help alleviate some of the traffic on the west side of Hoover if we reinvested in the eastern side of Hoover.
Thank you. Ms. Driver?
It's critical that we focus more of our incentive dollars on redevelopment and less on new development, which is great, but will happen anyway without the incentive. On my listening tour out in the community, I've heard some great ideas. One gentleman in Bluff Park suggested that there be a fee associated with vacancy. I'm going to look into that. Some of the best ideas that we have come from out in the community. I'm tired of letting out-of-state commercial real estate owners use Hoover as a tax write-off. That's what you're seeing at Patton Creek and some other locations where it doesn't really matter to them that there are empty stores, but it matters an awful lot to us. Just this week, I had the opportunity to approve a new development that included some provisions that help businesses in the way that you asked, Nan. The new development committed to bring only new to Hoover businesses, therefore not stealing from other locations that already have a Hoover location, and committed to bring first-of-a-kind things to the city.
Ms. Mazur?
This new development in Hoover, Brock's Gap, I think before we look at Brock's Gap, we should look at Patton Creek. We put in Patton Creek when I was on the council. The unfortunate thing is the people that are not there, or the stores that are not there anymore, they didn't go out of business, they moved. They moved to the new Stadium Trace, they moved down here to Knox Square. They did not go out of business. Now, it's very possible that their rent was probably made much higher. But Patton Creek, Stadium Trace Shopping Center had to offer them something that Hoover's not doing. Because these businesses are still here. They have not gone out.
Thank you. The next question will be starting with Ms. Driver, and it will be from the Hoover Sun.
Okay, this is the same question for each of you. It's kind of a long question, so please forgive me for that. But in the past, for many years, the city of Hoover gave 16% of its sales tax revenues to the school system. In the last fiscal year, that would have amounted to $17.8 million. About 20 years ago, the city's contribution to the school system changed to a flat amount versus a percentage. And for numerous years now, that has been $5 million a year, plus covering the cost of school resource officers. And here's the question part of it. Do you believe this is enough of a city contribution to the school system, or do you think the school system should receive more money from the city? And please explain your reasons why.
So if you had asked me this question 2.5 years ago, I would have answered it differently. I would have said no, that I didn't think that the schools needed more money. But I was wrong. So I have learned by serving as liaison to the Board of Education that there are needs in our schools that are not being met, particularly as we plan for the future and important capital investments. So it's important that we maintain our standard of excellence, not just for today, but for the future. Our school administration does an amazing job with what they receive. Their per-student spending is on par with systems like Vestavia and Homewood. But I very much believe that we do need additional funding for the schools, and I support that.
Ms. Mazur?
Yes. I'm proud to say the schools mean a lot to me. I was on the steering committee to start Hoover School System. When I was on the council, we gave the school system $7 million a year. After my term on the council, it was dropped to 2.5. The school system is the success of our community. And we, as a city, have to help them in any way we can. It's important. They need it. 20 years ago, we were going to put up another high school in Ross Bridge. And we were told at that time, because we were looking at 20 years later, we were told at that time that it would be a terrible thing to do because of the football program.
Mr. Coleman.
I would absolutely send more money to the schools, because when I grew up in Vestavia and I went to graduate school in New Orleans, and when I stole the prettiest girl in Louisiana, I said, we need to move back to Alabama. And I said, we need to go to Hoover because it's like Vestavia, but bigger. Okay? And so we're sitting on over $80 million in a rainy day fund and still saying, well, I don't know if maybe it can be 5%. What are we doing with that money? We just want to Scrooge McDuck and swim around in it? A city only exists to serve its citizens, and it is only as good as its school system. And when I was growing up in Vestavia, we all knew Hoover had the best schools, and I am committed to continuing that jealousy all over the mountain.
Thank you. Now, the last question will be from the League of Women Voters. Ms. Mazur, you'll answer first.
Many Hoover voices have called for an arts center for many years. Do you support having such a facility, and how would you go about paying for it? Where would an arts center be in your priorities relative to other city needs?
I'm all for a performing arts center. I think it's important here. We had one planned up at the Grove until, unfortunately, Riverwalk came along, and that was scratched. I think it's very important. We deserve it. I come from New York, in case you couldn't tell. And What we have there with theater, with opera, with museums, art museums, there's nothing here like that. And the citizens deserve it here. And I think that we can support it. They had $17 million that they gave to someone else, but now they put it back in. But it's going to take a long time for us to get that money for the Performing Arts Center.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
So a performing arts center is probably priority 1B for me. Priority 1A is stormwater. Priority 1B is the performing arts center, because if we ever want to be more than just a suburb of Birmingham, we need arts and culture as well as retail. Growing up around here, I knew for a fact you could shop and you could buy anything your heart desired in Hoover. But if you wanted to go see a show, if you wanted to go see Julius Caesar, the Shakespeare play, you had to go to Birmingham. You had to go to Montgomery. And I want people to go to Hoover. I want people to say, hey, you know, block out your weekend. We got to get to Hoover. Have you heard what's happening over there? And so it is a high priority for me, and we need sustainable infrastructure to maintain it.
Ms. Driver.
So shortly after I joined the Hoover City Council, we borrowed the $17 million that we have set aside for a Center for the Arts. It is a need and not a want. It is incredibly important in our community, and I think it's a yes and. We do have many needs in our community, but we can accomplish that goal just like the school system did with building this facility, and we can also accomplish our other goals at the same time. The way we will do that is with a strategic plan. So instead of letting a developer tell us where we can build a performing arts center, I want us to decide what is it that we want as a community, how much money is it going to take, and how are we going to work together to make it happen. It's going to take a public-private partnership to come up with the kind of money that it will take to build the style and grandeur of the type of performing arts facility that this community deserves, and I'm committed to making sure that that happens.
Thank you. Okay, candidates, at this point, we'll do our closing statements. We'll do them in descending order. I'll remind you, you have 1 minute. And Ms. Mazur, you're first.
Could you please repeat that?
We're doing the closing statements, and you'll...
Oh, my closing statement.
You have 1 minute.
I want to bring transparency and accountability back to Hoover. I want every resident who comes to the city council meeting and asks a question not be ignored, not be like you're talking to a wall. I want them to know that someone's there to answer your question. And if the city council can't, we will have every department head to be there to answer your question. No one will ever leave saying what just happened. I also have funded my own campaign. I have not had a fundraiser. I have not taken money from anyone. I don't want to feel that I'm beholden to someone just because they gave me money. I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Ms. Driver?
So what I'd like to see us focus on as a team, the city council is a team, by the way. We can't do anything alone as individuals. So I'd like for us to work as a team and work well with the mayor's office to ensure that our foundations stay strong. I'm talking about police, fire, our 911 operations center, and our schools. Those are job number one. In addition to that, I'd like to see the city engage in more strategic planning, and I want to be a part of that. One thing that I've seen that needs to be improved is having a strategic plan that is communicated with the public and is executed by the city. I'm talking about major roadways, sewer, and stormwater issues, things that take a lot of money and a long time and a lot of thoughtful expert planning to accomplish. And finally, I'd like to focus on economic redevelopment. I'm focused on what we can do. Incentivizing the revitalization of vacant commercial properties is important.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
I want a performing arts center. I want to redevelop the parts of Hoover that have lost their storefronts, that have lost their businesses. I want a pay raise for city employees, because city employees had about a 1.4% pay raise last year with 4% inflation. That accounts to about a 2.6% pay cut. And I do not believe that they are doing so bad a job that they need a pay cut. I think we should pay them what we owe them. And if you'll let me take you to church one last time, because I was telling my daughters, I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, that it's not easy to say no to millionaires, right? But I teach them from the gospel according to Miranda Lambert. And I teach them, yea, verily, I say unto thee, little girls are made of gunpowder and lead. And so that is the type of example I want to give to them. That is the type of father I want to be. And that is why I have said no to every cent of money with strings attached to it.
Thank you, candidates. We appreciate it. This time we will call our Place 5 candidates to the microphone. Okay, gentlemen, we'll start with your opening statements. We'll go in alphabetical order. I'll remind you, you each have 2 minutes. And so that's you, Mr. Lawrence.
My name is Steve Lawrence. I'm running for Place 5. You may have heard of my name from the Facebook group Hoover News and Information. I started in 2018 with Steve McClendon. Back when there was protests all over the cities after the Galleria shooting, we wanted a place where people can come together. So what I do for a living is I'm a commercial insurance broker, and I specialize in risk management. So what I do is I work with CEOs, CFOs, business owners. I've done it for 30 years with companies all across the country, and I solve problems for a living. So why I decided to run is a place called Riverwalk. I've got a 2-page white paper out on the desk that you can read on that, school funding, as well as transparency. But $35 million is what the developer bought the Regents campus, the building and the land, and our city agreed to give that developer over $25 million of our taxpayer dollars is what we committed, and then we gave him 20 years worth of incentives for $54 million that he can make on that as well. And you know what we got out of it? The bill. That's what we got out of it. Record revenue, record spending, record debt. I'm a fiscal conservative. We need somebody who will challenge the numbers, look at it, ask the hard questions. Financial transparency, we deserve to have a state audit. If you've not heard about the Kroll report, it was sold to us as a forensic audit. It was not a forensic audit, folks, and it said that financial records had been deleted. Back in July of 2023, we still don't know who did it, and it was not a forensic audit. The state can come in, audit our city, we find out the truth, and hopefully this black cloud of what happened with our financials goes away. So with that, thank you. I love Hoover. I'm running for Place 5, and I would love to have your vote.
Mr. Murphy.
Good evening. I'm Derek Murphy, Hoover City Council, Place 5, and I'm running for re-election. If there's one thing I want to leave with you tonight, that is trust and experience matters. If I needed surgery, hip surgery, of course I want a smart doctor, but they better know how to get it right the first time. That's what trust and experience means. I'm an engineer with over 24 years of experience working on complex capital projects that impact families and also cities. I've been trusted by our community to serve on the Hoover Board of Education and elected as its president. I worked to bring RC3 here, our vocational program, because I understood that not every kid may go to college, but every kid deserves the opportunity to succeed. I've been trusted by the state of Alabama, serve on the Dam and Safety Technical Committee and the Alabama Association of School Board Advisory Committee because people know I work hard and I deliver results. Since 2016, I've served the City Council, fighting for schools, public safety, and infrastructure. But infrastructure is not the only competing resource our city needs. For example, the police and our fire department are in continual need of resources for the rising issues we have in our city, like mental health challenges. Look, my grandmother, her name was Mayoral, She taught me some basic principles. You have to be bold and courageous. That's why we must have vision and courage to invest in public-private partnerships to grow our city's revenue. So Hoover meets its challenges without cutting essential services that make our city strong. So on August 26th, I'm asking for your vote, not because of a title, because I have shown I have the experience to keep Hoover a place we are all proud to call home. Thank you.
Thank you both. At this point, we'll begin the question-answer session. We will have the Hoover son will have the first question. The first question will be for Mr. Lawrence. We'll have different questions for each candidate. So, Mr. Lawrence, Hoover son.
Yeah, these are different questions on the same topic, though. Mr. Lawrence, what is your position on tax increases and hotel nightly room fees? Do you believe any tax or fee increases are needed? And would you be in favor of any tax increases to help fund various perceived needs in the city, whether it be road projects or police or fire services or stormwater infrastructure projects?
I would not be in favor of any tax increase. I think we have enough wasteful spending. We've had record revenues. We need to manage that money. So to answer your question on the tax increase, the hotels, okay, the lodging tax in the $2 per night fee, that money was supposed to go towards tourism to help promote our hotels. Right now, we have a lot of hotels and we have a lot of vacancy. The occupancy rate is not even close to being full. So I really don't think raising more taxes on that is going to help drive people into the city to stay at our hotels. We need to improve the economic community around us and the businesses. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Murphy, your question is slightly different, but on the same topic. In 2018, you voted in favor of increasing sales taxes by 0.5 percentage point and creating a $2 nightly room fee for Hoover hotel guests. Why did you believe that tax increase and fee were needed then? And secondly, what do you believe about tax increases moving forward?
So one correction. So what was presented was a one-cent tax increase. At the end of the day, the council decided to make that a 0.5%. So I'm not in favor of raising taxes. We can't tax the devil out of our people. But as you can hear up here today, that we have a lot of needs, but no one's talking about money. Bottom line is we have to have economic development. We have to recruit. We can't have empty boxes. Empty box stores do not make money. We have to think bold. At the end of the day, competing cities like Huntsville, Mobile, and even Atlanta, what do they have in common? A downtown district. Many businesses decide to bring their staffing here because of quality of life. Fine arts centers needed. If we want to be serious as a city, we have to continue to press forward and build our city center so we'll be able to compete with the Atlantas and Nashville and even our local economy. That's the only way we can move forward and paying for the things we need for the future.
Thank you. The next question will be from the League of Women Voters. Mr. Murphy, you will be first.
Is there opportunity for Hoover with respect to transportation innovations? Do you have ideas about increasing Hoover's walkability?
Yes. So in 2016, when I took office, we went around for 2 years doing town hall meetings throughout the city. It's a 200-page plan associated with that we adopted in 2019. Out of that came a lot of walkability. This is the challenge with the city of Hoover because our region requires to have busing, right? There's not going to be a singular sale that Hoover can solve. But some things we can solve is infrastructure development. Having bridges, having pedestrian bridges. Exit 9 is a prime example. Exit 9 that's coming on South Shadecrest Road is a 2-lane road. If an accident occurs there right now, our fire department and police can't get there. They cannot even serve our school system. We cannot provide any much to them. So me being an engineer, being in the infrastructure business for 24 years of my life, I have the experience and the skills to meet those needs of our city for our future.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, so we talk about walkability and transportation. When I think of transportation right now, the world's changing. Tesla just came out with the self-driving cars. Pretty soon, we're probably about 2 or maybe 3 or 4 years away. If you own a Tesla, you could probably have your car making money while you're at work. So looking at that kind of stuff, and then also the walkability factor is in the neighborhoods and the communities, when we do multi-use development, which is cities like Franklin, Tennessee is doing, when they're redeveloping those areas, You have condos that are above restaurants, coffee shops, and that kind of stuff, where communities can kind of go in the neighborhood, just like what's happened in Knox Square, where folks can drive their golf cart and go hang out and talk to folks. Hope that helps. Thanks.
All right. The final question will be from the Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Lawrence, you will start.
Okay, we've talked about it a little so far tonight, and I'll continue with that same theme. Infrastructure is critical to both economic development and residents' quality of life. Issues such as stormwater drainage, aging sewer systems, transportation networks, utilities, and broadband access are top of mind for many residents in Hoover. How would you prioritize and manage these infrastructure improvements as part of a broader strategy to support business growth while also addressing community needs and the community concerns?
It's a lot for 60 seconds, but I'll just say this. The interchange that we're doing, I think we do need it because there's residents like in Bradbury and that parkway that's going to be built out. We got to have another way out of Stadium Trace. It's overgrown. The problem with that is that we don't know the cost. When the state bids it, we agreed to pay $61 million of a $120 million project. We're on the hook for 44% of the cost. Well, that was 3 years ago. So when we bid that out, the money could be substantially higher, and we better make sure we have the funds to afford it. So we got to get our arms around the finances, and then we got to figure it out. But absolutely, anything that we can do as a city to make it easier for, like Old Montgomery Highway to the Patton Creek extension, they've been talking about doing that for years. That would help so many people. So we need to look at projects like that. And lastly, stormwater is a crucial issue for our city. There's over 600 complaints. We have to do something about it.
Mr. Murphy?
So long-term planning, I have over two decades of infrastructure planning. I have over 400 people report to me, from engineers to pipe fitters to GIS folks. To replace a mile of pipe, it'll cost you $1.5 million. We have over 400 miles of roads in our city. So we got a lot of infrastructure, but planning is the key. Also, public-to-public partnership. We talk about X and 9 quite a bit, but we got to be realistic. The state of Alabama Department of Transportation don't have enough money, just like we don't, to pay for all their infrastructure needs. So we're going to have to continue to always bring money to the table in order to get things to accomplish. Northern Beltline, if everybody called that, been a 50 to 60 year project. We've been able to get X and 9 done in 5 years. Why? Because there's not many agencies in the state of Alabama and in this region that I don't know the director or I have not worked with personally in my profession.
Thank you. At this point, we will do the closing statements. We'll do them in descending order. I'll remind you, you have 1 minute. Mr. Murphy.
The city of Hoover is over 50 years old, and our challenge is not growth, but keeping our infrastructure and workforce strong. The sky is not falling down in Hoover. Our city is just getting older, and we have to evolve. You have heard misinformation claiming that Hoover is failing, but businesses will keep opening, folks are still moving in. Our public safety is strong, and our schools are recognized at state and national levels. Look, we need experienced leaders with visions to face the challenging times ahead. I have led some of the toughest times in Hoover history, from COVID-19 to the Galleria shooting. I'm the only candidate in place 5 with expertise in infrastructure to guide our city and the region through growth. So on August 26th, I'm asking for your vote to keep Hoover ready to compete and win. God bless you, God bless Hoover, and go Bucks and go Jags.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Lawrence.
So my campaign slogan is protecting what works, improving what matters. What I mean by protecting what works is the fire, police, and the schools are all led by 3 really strong leaders. Of course, protect that. The schools need more funding. Improving what matters and going around talking to folks and learning about all the different problems to the city, the economic blight, the stormwater issues, you name it. There's too long of a list to give you in 1 minute. The problem we have and what we need to do to solve all this is to change our form of government. We need to move to a city manager form of government where we go hire the best of class type of person who runs the city, and that person basically manages the city and takes politics out of running the city. And then the mayor becomes the city council president, city council, they all get 1 vote, and we go listen to the residents, and that government works for Vestavia, Trustful, Alabaster, and now Homewood. I ask for your vote on Tuesday, August 26th, Steve Lawrence, Place 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Murphy. Okay, I'd like to thank all of our city council candidates. They were all here tonight. They didn't have proxies. They were all here, which shows their commitment to you, the voters. It says a lot about them that all of them were here. It's been a long campaign, a long couple of months. So first of all, please join me in thanking them. So here's what's next. We're going to ask the city council candidates to leave the stage, and at that point we're going to ask the two mayoral candidates to come up to the stage, and then in about 5 minutes we'll move forward with the mayoral candidates. So thank y'all for being here this evening.